Hi there, welcome back to our final exercise in Lesson 2 on zero and negative exponents. This is a Papetti Math YouTube video tutorial where Mr. Papetti right here is going to be teaching you, yes, you, Algebra 1. And in this video, we're going to be simplifying some exponential expressions, starting with part A that says x to the fourth divided by x to the eighth. And when we simplify that, we're going to get, well, that's the quotient rule, so we're going to keep our base and subtract our exponents, and 4 minus 8 will give you negative 4. But we never want to leave our answer as a negative exponent. So what we want to do is we want to make this a positive exponent by remembering our negative exponent rule, where it says to take the reciprocal and make the power positive. So that's going to be a solution, or simplified, to 1 over x to the fourth power. In part B, we have x to the second divided by x to the third to the third. So x to the third is going to be x to the ninth, because that's our power of a power property. And then we're going to use our quotient rule there, and we're going to arrive at x to the 2 minus 9, which is negative 7. Now again, we don't want to leave our answer as a negative exponent, so we take the reciprocal and we make the power positive. So our simplification in part B is going to be 1 over x to the 7th power. In part C, we're going to simplify the numerator first, and we'll have x to the third times x to the ninth. The product property says to keep the base and add the exponents. So we'll have x to the 12th divided by x to the negative 4th. Now we're going to be using the quotient rule, which says to subtract. But you want to be careful here, because when we subtract, we're going to have x to the 12 minus negative 4. 12 minus negative 4. Because you can't forget that it's a subtraction and a negative, so it's going to be a double negative, which actually makes a positive. 12 plus 4 will give you x to the 16th power as your simplified value of part C. Moving on to part D, we have a little bit more going on, but we'll take it one piece at a time, and we'll simplify the numerator inside the parentheses first, and we'll have x to the 7th times x to the 9th, and that's going to be the product property, which says to add your exponents. So we'll be left with x to the negative 2nd divided by x to the negative 5th, and all of that to the negative 3rd. We could simplify that again by using our quotient rule, which says to subtract the powers. So we're going to have x to the negative 2 minus negative 5. So again, a double negative, similar to up here. So negative 2 minus negative 5 would give you positive 3. And then you have a power of a power property, where you have x to the third to the negative 3rd. So you're going to multiply your two powers there, and you're going to get x to the negative 9th. Again, you don't want to leave your answer as a negative exponent, so that would be the same as the reciprocal, because this is really over 1. So the reciprocal, and then you make the power positive. So 1 over x to the positive 9th right there. In part E, we're going to simplify that top again, that numerator. We're going to have x to the 10th times x to the 2nd, and we're going to get x to the 12th power, because we add our powers there. And on the new denominator, we're going to get x to the 6th to the 2nd, and that's going to be the power of a power property, where we multiply 6 times 2 to get 12. Now, x to the 12th divided by x to the 12th is going to be the quotient rule, where we do 12 minus 12 and get 0. And we know that anything to the 0 is going to be equal to 1, except 0, of course. And finally, in part F, we have 1 over 2 to the negative 3rd power. So what should we do here? Well, if we have a power outside, we could distribute that power to both the numerator and the denominator. So we'll have 1 over 1 to the negative 3rd, 2 to the negative 3rd. Is this going to help us? I don't think so. So there's one property that we might not have covered, but we could distribute, but that's not going to help us. So we don't want to distribute. We want to find an alternate way. So what else do we know about negative exponents? Oh, we can make it positive by taking the reciprocal. So 1/2 to the negative 3rd is the same as what's the reciprocal of 1/2? That's 2 over 1 to the positive third. And 2 over 1 is really just 2 to the third, and 2 to the third can simplify to 8, because 2 times 2 times 2 will give you a value of 8. So now we have simplified exponential expressions with multiple different rules involved, including the product property, the quotient rule, the power of a power rule, the power of a product rule, and also the zero and negative exponent rules that you were introduced to in this lesson. And if this video was helpful in simplifying these expressions, please give it a thumbs up, and you're now ready for the next lesson in this chapter, lesson number 3. Thank you for watching.